Welcome to episode 144 of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name's Trent. This is Jason, and we've got Dryvr for you this week.
Yes, we do, with our brand new singer.
Yeah, all 5 of them this time.
Yeah, and that was something I was really happy about.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, as we've said before, Dryvr, when we got into this and wanted to do a podcast and wanted to get back into covering Tulsa music and Tulsa metal, this is one of the first bands we found and that we took a liking to and they took a liking to us. And so, so to get all 5 of them, it was really cool. And, God, I think me, you, and Jude could have just talked about metal for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just recorded that probably.
Yeah, between Pantera and Typo and all that stuff.
Yes, exactly.
And another thing of note is Mike DiPetrillo is now the first person to be on here 4 times, I think.
Yes, and that deserves something.
Yeah. Because we've had bands on here 4 times like Battlecross.
Yes.
But a single person, I believe this is the first time.
Yes, he is a veteran for sure.
Yes. So thanks to Mike, because he's also, like you said, been a big supporter of what we're doing.
Definitely.
We're going to talk more about Dryvr here in a minute, but first we want to talk about Black Country Communion, because their 4th album came out a couple weeks ago now, and it's aptly titled BCC4.
Yes.
This is a band that I think a lot of people know about, but there's too many people that don't as well.
Yeah. Give them a rundown just real quick, just in case people don't know.
Okay, this is a, quote, supergroup.
Yes.
Like there are many of those these days. But these guys have now been around quite a while, because like we said, 4 albums worth of material. You've got Glenn Hughes on bass and vocals. You've got Joe Bonamassa on the guitar. Derek Sherinian on keyboards, piano. Jason Bonham on drums.
Yes.
And that's it. Okay. I was thinking there was 5 people on the side.
No, that makes up for quite a sound.
Yeah, it does.
And Joe Bonamassa, he'll take the vocals here and there too and sing a song or 2 now and then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and this band is unique in the fact that, like we've mentioned before with a lot of super groups, it's like, it looks really good on paper beforehand, but is it going to live up to it? Mm-hmm. Is it going to gel? Will there be chemistry? And this band, more so than a lot of them, kind of like you could say with Winery Dogs, it kind of exceeded what I thought it could be.
Yeah, definitely.
And to me, this band is so good that it exceeds what every one of them does outside of this band. Even though Glenn Hughes, everything he does is fucking magic in my opinion. We've said that before, but so I just wish that at some point these guys would say, okay, we need to devote 3 or 4 months out of next year to tour Europe and tour America, because there's something magical here. And I mean, that's been a thing of note where you said just recently, Glenn Hughes said that we're just a great recording band.
Yeah. And
they just do a few shows every time they put out an album, like literally 3 or 4 shows, if that.
Yeah. It's anyone with the internet, which is all of us nowadays, can just Google and search. It's pretty much because of Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah.
He's such a personality in his own right and in that genre of blues and blues rock. I mean, the guy is very successful on his own. He tours like an idiot. He is booked a year or 2 in advance. There's such a high demand for him. And I know, because that's what all of them say in interviews, that's pretty much why.
Yeah.
And I guess I get that. You gotta go where your bread's buttered.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kind of like you said with Winery Dogs, it's like, I feel that, this isn't just a super group. This isn't some guys, this isn't some fuck from some Italian record label that really loves music from the 80s, just throws a bunch of names up in the air and see which ones fall together.
Yeah. I
mean, these guys are friends. They've got chemistry. And there's something there more than most. And I think if none of these guys had anything else going on, Black Country Communion could really be something. I mean, definitely overseas. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And hey, I saw Joe Bonamassa live a couple years ago, and for someone that I've listened to throughout the years, but never heavily, it just really knocks you on your ass at how great this guy is. And he's kind of, even though he's one of those guys that fills up theaters, but most people don't even know who he is.
Exactly.
Which is, an amazing feat,
He could go into a McDonald's here in Broken Arrow and have a Big Mac and no one would bother him.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, let's talk about, since we're on the subject and we're talking about Joe Bonamassa, we can't not mention Bloodline.
Yeah. First time we saw Joe Bonamassa live was 95, is that right?
I think so. Kane's Ballroom with Bloodline, which was another quote-unquote supergroup.
But at that time, that's one of the weirder things to call supergroups, because it wasn't technically a supergroup of guys that were known. It was a supergroup of guys whose dads were known.
Yeah, it was like...
And then Joe Bonamassa.
It was like these guys who all their dads... Well, the keyboard player. But it was like Barry Oakley Jr., Robbie Krieger's kid.
Oh, right.
What was his name?
I forgot.
And then Aaron Davis, Miles Davis' son, was on drums. And then the keyboard player, who I don't know who he was, no disrespect, and then Joe Bonamassa, who was fucking 16, and they had this whole blues rock thing, and the album was fucking phenomenal. I mean, it was so fucking cool. We listened to it till the CD wouldn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And, they came to Kane's Ballroom, and it was just epic. And I remember Joe Bonamassa did a guitar solo, and it was more than blues. He did a lot of shreddy kind of stuff too. So, I mean, it was, I mean, and I'm the same with you. I've listened to this guy's stuff, and maybe because I'm biased towards Glenn Hughes and Black Country Communion, I keep myself from being like a full-on Joe Bonamassa fan. But, I've really, this album has opened me up, and I've gone back and listened to some of his stuff, and it's phenomenal. So, I mean, however we have to have Black Country Communion, I'll take it.
Right. Even if it's just recorded.
Yeah, even if it's just recorded. I'm pretty sure we're not going to ever see them live ever. Maybe one day.
Which is a thing to point out. A lot of bands that can't play live and don't do that stuff don't even mess with recording.
Yeah.
So at least they're doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
And even if that's all it is forever, hey, that's good.
And these records that they're doing are such at a caliber where you want more, and you're okay with that. Just give us more of what you guys are doing, and this new record is no different.
Right. Yeah, we've made these claims before. We'll make them again. Glenn Hughes is it the voice of God?
He's the voice of God.
Or is it the voice of an angel? It's like everything.
No, he's the voice of God.
Okay.
And I hate to maybe, I hate to get a little trashy, but it's like Ricky Bobby. He wakes up in the morning, he pisses excellence.
He does.
That's what it is.
You know that before you even hear it. This isn't just like fanboy talking.
Yeah.
Before you hear a Glenn Hughes song for the first time, it's going to be great just because of his vocals. And,
oh, man.
Just like the album he put out last year, his solo album was, what was that, number 3, I think, on our top 16 of last year?
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was amazing.
And we've been lucky that the last several years, every year there's been a new product with Glenn Hughes' voice on it, because we had California Breed before that. We had another Black Country Communion before that.
Yeah.
We've had, what am I drawing a blank on? But
yeah.
And then now he's recording with Joe Satriani.
And Chad Smith.
I mean, even though he won't be singing, more than likely.
Yeah, that first song, Streaming, go look it up. It's great.
Yeah, the energy.
Yes.
And what's cool about it is, you're listening to Joe Satriani. It sounds like Satriani. But it's almost like on purpose they lifted that bass and drum line up a little bit. Yeah. More so than you normally hear in Satriani songs, just because it's a star-studded trio. Can you imagine if that toured? Anyway.
Oh my God. Well, and I heard Satriani on Trunk last week, and he said that, Glenn Hughes really inspired some of the writing for this. They'd be working on stuff, and, they'd just be in the studio, and Glenn would be humming along to something, and Joe would use that or something, So, I mean, it's, we're getting a little off right. Topic here, but who cares? It's great stuff. But we're talking all the stuff about Glenn Hughes. there's one song on this new record that I got to talk about, the last song from My Resting Place. That's sung by Joe Bonamassa.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too.
And that is just, I mean, that almost chokes you up, that song. I mean, it's so heartfelt and it's so epic. I mean, that song's worth the record alone.
And that song has so much going on.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, with Bonamassa being on the forefront of it, it's got that more bluesy feel than some of the other songs do. But then it's got that fiddle that almost takes it into
I know.
An old school country feel slightly, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's just, so somber, but then so huge at the same time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a great song. And it's funny that that's what jumps out, you know, to both of us being as big Glenn Hughes fans as we are.
Exactly. But Over My Head, I think that's a cool song. I really like that one. That's the second song.
Yeah. That one, the first song too, Collide, The Cove. Man, just the whole thing, When the Morning Comes, the last song. This is another great album. Fourth album, actually fifth because they had a live album.
Yes.
The fourth studio album. And like you mentioned earlier, they're all four high quality.
Yeah, it's
all killer, no filler you could listen to.
It's definitely got a classic rock, you know, foundation, but it's so amped up.
Yeah.
It's heavier, it's riffier. I mean, it's great stuff, really.
Yeah. And here's to hoping that next time we hear Glenn Hughes singing on something, it's with Tony Iommi.
Yeah, no kidding. Or it's right in front of us because we're seeing him somewhere.
Yeah, that's still number one on my bucket list.
Yes.
One day I'll see Glenn Hughes in some form, hopefully.
One day.
All right, on to Dryvr. We've got all five of them here this time. We've had Mike on here, like we said, a few previous times. One of our first episodes we ever did was with him, just talking about his past and everything leading up to Dryvr. But that's been over a couple years ago now. We've also had an episode where he joined in with Scott Bond of Death Grip, an episode where he was on when Eddie Green had joined the band, and now Mike's back. But all four members of Dryvr are here.
Yes.
We've got Jude, Nathan, and Robin, and of course Brandon, the brand new singer.
Yes.
And like you mentioned early in the episode, Dryvr was one of the first bands that we kind of latched on to.
Yeah.
And when we started, we started doing the Thunder Underground thing way before we started the podcast itself. Mm-hmm. And before we ever did our first episode of the podcast, one of the first local shows we went to was here at the Shrine. It was like, I want to think it was early 2015, like maybe March. Mm-hmm. And Dryvr was playing along with Shiner.
Yes, yeah.
Which was the band that Brandon was formerly in out of Wichita. And Severmind, I know, was also in that bill.
That's right. It was funny because I think, and this is the way I remember it, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like we had searched Tulsa metal or Oklahoma metal or something, and Dryvr was the first thing that popped up. And lo and behold, they had a show coming up, and so there we were off to the races. Then.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of cool that, you know, we saw Brandon early on, and here we are 2.5 years later, and he's now in Dryvr.
Yeah.
And another cool thing is after we did this interview, they practiced, did some rehearsal, and let us set in on it.
That was such an honor for me. I mean, their new stuff and, Brandon's voice and fuck, man.
Yeah, everything they had played was stuff they've written with Brandon, so it was all stuff we had never heard. Yeah,
and, they talked about this, they're bringing in the 7 strings and their new stuff. It sounded like Dryvr, but it was a little heavier. And, like Jude had that flying V 7 string, and that's just something you're not used to seeing in a 7 string.
Yeah.
Usually it's just a Strat style kind of body in a 7 string. And I mean, it was just so cool to watch. And, they were showing us their gear, and it was great, man. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. All 5 of these guys, great to hang out with. And like you said, an honor to watch the rehearsal. So I'm really excited to see these guys live. They've already played out a few times with Brandon. Played some of these songs live, and they'll be recording them here in the coming months, I believe.
Yeah.
So by early next year, I bet we've got some new Dryvr to spin for you.
Yeah, definitely. And, it was, I think that, we talked about this in the interview, but the way they waited a while to announce them, I think that was the right thing to do. They went about this the correct way, and I'm really excited to see, this new chapter unfold for them.
Yeah, definitely. So let's just get into this. This is Dryvr.
Ow, quit touching that.
Wait. We rolling?
Always.
You catch all the stupid. How's the weather? It's fine.
This is awkward.
I go to Rawhide, you go to Limp Biscuit?
Nathan, quit touching that. Damn it.
Okay, I guess let's start out with, Brandon. How did you come across him, and how did that all come about? And off we go.
Man, so many jokes. Man, we knew him from before, because we played with him in his previous band. He was in a band called Shiner. And so we knew who he was from days past because we played together. But I didn't see him being on our radar because we hadn't crossed paths in a minute. And he basically caught wind that we were in need of a new frontman. And, dude, this cat wanted this job.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was up. He knew the catalog. He had done his homework. And this cat wanted this job. And when he showed up, he nailed 4 or 5 of the tunes out of the box. And it was like, crap, this guy's got a voice. Obviously, he wants this job. Because we had a lot of people that put their name into the hat. And we had kind of a standard, here's a couple of songs. We sent them one song that has no lyrics, just a music bed. See what you can come up with. We're not looking for a Grammy, but, And several people sent stuff in, and his was definitely way a cut above. And then when we got him here and we started playing together live, definitely it was a cut above. And then now that we've got to play with him for a while, it just gets better as he owns it and as we groove and get our thing going together. Dude, this cat is good. Yeah. He's got, this cat's good.
Was he the only guy that you guys brought to that second step of jamming with?
Yeah.
He was the only one that made it to in-person auditions.
Yeah.
There were 2 stages before that. He was the only one who passed.
Nice.
Yeah, from my end, I was in Shiner had gotten to a point where we needed to take it out of the Wichita market. We had gotten to what we felt was as far as we were going to go with it. This is back in early 2016. Mm-hmm. And so we made the move. We moved to South Texas, just south of Austin. And we were down there. Some things happened with that band. And, as bands progress, sometimes things cause breakups. And so we had an implosion in that band. And we were making a run for it right in the middle of it. And everything just kind of fell apart. And wheels off the bus. So I ended up petering around South Texas with my other 2 bandmates for a little while. We started a cover band down there, and then I didn't even hear about the fact that Dryvr had lost their original vocalist, but then I had started seeing the posts all of a sudden popping up on my Facebook feed about what happened with their first filling vocalist that had taken over. It was Eddie, right? Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, well, wait a second, I remember Dryvr, and I went back through their stuff and I was like, oh yeah, and so it just led to me coming up here in a series of back and forth, a few trips up from Texas, and by the second stage of the audition, before we even got to live, I knew I wanted it, and I just sunk into it from there. Learned everything they had, learned most of every bit of their catalog, and went from there. So.
Was it easy to put your own stamp on it, or?
Oh yeah, musically wise,
and they let you do that and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I stuck with the basics. I think when I came in for the first vocal audition where we actually sang, I sang a couple of songs 2 different ways. I say, well, here's how you have it. Here's how I, here's the difference. Just minor differences that I would make at the time. And since then, things have just kind of grown as they do. Every time we play it, there's different things that all of us, come across. And then the thing that I sunk my teeth into to try and show off with was the blank bed they sent me. I was like, okay, let's show them what I can do writing, because they'd seen what I did on a little bit lighter note, because obviously this is a heavier band than what I had been with before. But as soon as I grabbed that new song that became My Life, it's now a song called My Life that we actually do in shows. That was the one that I kind of took and tried to make my baby out of.
I noticed that for a while you would post about, we've got our new singer and, this and that, but you didn't reveal it for a while. Was that
mystery.
Was that kind of just to bring up the anticipation, or you wanted to make sure that this was the right guy?
A little of both.
Yeah.
I've jumped and been like the happy schoolgirl from before, and just like, all right.
Not just yet. Stay quiet.
I'm going to breathe this time, but I can still have fun with it. And once we started feeling like we were going to be able to do something with Brandon, then it just became more about the fun. And didn't want to say anything till everything was in place, everybody was in, everything was done, and he was done with his band officially down there, and then we could make an official announcement, and then off to the races. We've been going pretty much ever since.
I think the point of no return was driving straight into Hurricane Harvey to go pick his stuff up.
Saw that.
Yeah, we did that.
You can't. You're the guy now, no matter what.
Oh yeah.
No going back.
I relocated from Texas to come here, so
yeah.
They're stuck with me. That's how I like to say it.
Well, the four of you guys obviously have this chemistry from playing together for quite a while. Brought in a third guy now. Is it hard to adapt to that at all, because it's like a different style of singing each time, or are you guys already used to what you're doing now with Brandon?
Not really. It just seemed, on my end, it just seemed like it just meshed. It's kind of the formula that we had in mind to begin with, the clean vocals on over the heavy music, and it just meshed.
Yeah, it felt real natural to me. It was just like it was meant to be.
Yeah.
There was no adjustment needed. It just fit right in. Really smooth. Yeah, no adjustments at all, man. We just kept doing our thing. Just fit right in like the missing piece of a puzzle.
One of the best job interviews I've ever been on. Yeah, you did real good. And then, of course, the more time, I always call it time in the saddle, but the more time in the saddle with this, it becomes more your own, and then everything moves and changes and stretches and morphs a little bit when you have a new person in the band. And things have made some corners which are like, hey, that's kind of cool. And hey, that's a little better. And somebody that has a range, well, it gives us a chance to play and highlight. And so, yeah.
The chemistry was there immediately.
Yeah.
It was just really, really pretty magical. Lots of rainbows and unicorns. It's really good. Right, Mike?
Yes, he put a unicorn on my drum set.
Finally, finally accepted.
It's fucking awesome. Yeah, that's great. So,
Well, you as a vocalist coming into a band that's a little heavier, what's that like getting on stage, singing over heavier music? Is it any kind of anything for you to change? What's the right word? Adapt to, I guess.
Well, besides the obvious things like look, obviously, what you wear on stage, which is something, as with the way my last band grew, it's something we became cognizant of anyway. So it really wasn't a big step on that end, because I knew what I was going for. Plus, to be honest, with the albums I've done in the past, it's progressively, if you look at the arc of various recordings that I've done with different projects in the past, it's gotten progressively heavier anyway. This was a natural progression, and even a few of the songs I wrote with my last project, they were meant to be heavier songs when I wrote them, and then got lightened up by the group I was with. So, the influences of the musicians I was with lightened them up at the time. So it was definitely, like Nathan said, it was kind of like a perfect storm. As far as me running into these guys when I did, I would say the timing was just so perfect. And then I didn't feel I had to make any adjustments to what they're doing, and they didn't feel they had to make any adjustments for me. It was more of a, hey, this fits, this is right, and that's it. It's rare to find that. All the projects I've dealt with, I've had to make adjustments. This is the first one where they've caught me right on my singing arc, where it's just we're all on the same page at the same time when coming into it, which was so weird.
Yeah, perfect fit from the start.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Just across the board, it's great. I mean, not only the musicality, but just getting along, the joking, the camaraderie, the teamwork when it comes to loading gear, what have you. It's like these guys I've worked with for almost 20 years. You know, heck,
Shut up.
Brandon might as well have been with us from before. That's how well he fits in, and I feel like I've jammed with him from all these years, along with these guys.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me.
He damn sure jumped in and hit the ground running.
I've never seen anything like it. The quick writing, the quick learning. We wrote so much new material at a record I've never seen.
Yeah.
We learned new songs at a record I've never seen. Just blows away anybody I've ever seen. So we're all extremely fortunate that this all fell into place the way it did. It's great.
One of the cool little snippet. What was it? We wrote 6 songs in the 4 day. I came back for a 4 or 5 day jaunt in June. Mm-hmm. And that was when I was kind of sensing that the job was mine, and I think they were sensing it too. And we were all pretty sure it was going to happen, but we hadn't gotten to the point of announcing it yet. But there was a 4 or 5 day jaunt where I stayed here, and all we did was write and play music. And I think we wrote 6 songs just in that little 3 or 4 day stretch, and like to completion, where all we needed to do was just touch up, play and touch up, But where everything was in line with them, and that was huge. I was just like, yes, this is what we need. So,
was that the 5
how to play them?
Yeah. Is that the 5 of you writing in the room together at the same time? Is what you're saying?
Not usually.
No, it's in different spots. Lyrics will come from 1 or 2 or 3. A lot of them's probably following him now because he writes a lot, which is fantastic. Some of them I had basic rhythm blobs when I sent Nathan. Others, Nathan had things that were beginning pretty fat structures, like here's a framework, which was like, ooh, that was cool. And we could, ooh, that's cool. And just kind of
bits and pieces came to one.
And then there was a couple where he had pretty much most nice chunk. And I'm like, dude, that was fantastic. So we can do something. Yes. I love you, man. Go. Whatever water you're drinking, keep drinking it. And so, yeah, he came up with a nice round of hooks and stuff. And some of the stuff I fed him incorporated. And he jumped all over it. He's like, ooh, I have lyrics that can fit that. And he's like, wait a minute, play that again. Okay, I just wrote lyrics that can fit that. And they have.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And this is just the beginning again. Talking to you guys. So, it's in the building phase. But it's been fun. It's been well received so far. And it's been a blast on stage. So we're going to do some live, focus on the new material. Try to get him into the studio if possible. In Mike Land. I'd like to have him in the studio at the end of the year because I would really love the first 6-song disc to be springtime.
Yeah.
Hit the ground running.
I mean, is it all going to be all these new songs? You doing anything with the old songs, or
a little bit of both?
Okay.
Enough to get the familiarity out there, and then hit them with all the newer stuff too at the same time. Like, well, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Well, Brandon's so flexible that he had enough energy to write new songs and do a bunch of rewrites on existing songs. So that was like getting 2 for 1.
Yeah.
So for the ones, until we get a full bed of new music, we can just have this fresh new version of existing material, new lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, even like just the pattern of phrasing on the guitar end of it, that's kind of made us better players and kind of honed that, because those riffs that we had on some songs were there, but just there was something missing, and then this kind of was icing on the cake. This kind of got us to come halfway on it.
What we need to do soon is get our butts in the studio and at least get one done.
True.
Because we're so we need fresh something on the reverb spot. We need some fresh YouTube, and we need some fresh meat in the air. So I don't think that would be too tough.
No.
But we just got to get with it. But of course, you're also getting into this time of the year and holidays and all this stuff. You blink, it's going to be Christmas in like a second, and then so that everybody's got things and that interrupts you a lot. But
well, this is very, very fresh and new. Brandon's only moved to the area last week or something, so he's just now moved here.
A permanent move. Yeah.
We're going to get him settled in, then get in the studio. But it's been such a progression on multiple levels because we had to take a break over the summer to find a new vocalist. So we also took the opportunity at the same time to incorporate 7-string guitars instead of 6, which has opened up a whole new avenue of writing. You can hear that in a couple of the new songs where we do the newer, lower stuff. So it's changing the music bed and the vocals at the same time.
So in these live shows, has it been these new songs you guys have been writing kind of the same thing, the mix of both that you're talking about?
Yeah.
The one we just did at Shrine with Head P, we did all new material. We didn't we didn't do anything
That was fun. Very fun.
yeah, that was very cool.
All new vocal material, and then about half new songs, music as well.
Wow.
Yeah. Full half-hour set. So.
The one we did the Hayfield, though, that we still incorporated Answer and Cloak and Dagger and Pit. We still incorporated all those. We brought out the Dryvr version of Roadhouse Blues, and because just loves that song. It's
It's a lot of fun to play.
It's fun to play, fun to sing. Yeah.
Yeah, he came over here after a couple rehearsals and already had an hour of material he could perform. So
That's
that's
great.
basically where
That's
we were starting.
record time. Record time. That was awesome.
It's just pretty much polish our little turd so it's shiny, and then just keep working. It's like a turbine. You got to fire it back up again. So we'll do as many shows as we can end of the year. Break some of the rust off and just hang, do some regional stuff, and then 2018 we're gonna hit it, new product, and we're already working on being busy. We've already got bookings next year, so we're starting to roll this ball. And if the disc comes out in time to hit the spring market, which would just be amazingly cool, and it's way past time, I think we're gonna have some fun. I think we sell some product too, and we have new people now in our corner that have a few different connections than we've had in the past. So it's always one of those, knock on wood. But I think there's some people in our corner that can help us get the music in different directions, in different hands and ears. So I think we can sell some of this stuff. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But just to have new product and just hit the ground running in 2018 and just play.
Yeah, it's a new chapter, but it's not like starting over completely. So it's kind of a spiral. So we were still building, keep staying tight as a band, musically, all of that, building up connections, networking, promoting. But now we kind of have to rev back up on the touring side again. But man, this is a whole new opportunity that we've grown musically. Get fresh blood in the band. It inspires and it changes things for the better. So it's this whole new avenue opening up. So pretty excited about the new things happening.
Yeah. We've been getting really good feedback about Brandon so far. So I think, is that show number 4?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4.
4? Yeah. So, he's
He's
still moist. He's brand new. So 4 shows, man, and he's just been kicking ass. The first one was I couldn't hear squat. It was one of those nights, but when we were in Nashville playing, he did the 300-hour drive from Austin up till Nashville, and showed up and sang 3 songs and just nailed it. I think he was the best part of the show, and did a great job. And even the Nashville people and the NAMM folks I was with, they're like, "Dude, I like your new guy." I'm like, "You can't ask." So, yeah. But after only 4 shows, so.
Yeah, I've heard a lot that his voice blends well with the musical style, things like that. It sounds really good together. I'm digging it.
I want to guitar out for a minute. I've seen both of you guys doing solos and stuff. How do you, I'm going to do this solo, I'm going to do this solo, or divide the guitar parts? How does that kind of work with you guys?
just kind of...
We duke it out.
Yeah.
Last man standing gets the solo.
It's kind of unique. I mean, I never really was much of the solo guitarist. I was always rhythm like in our previous band. But I step out every now and then for it, and it's just kind of... We seem to do this double solo business where, like, I'll begin it, get to a point, and then switch out, and then Nathan takes it. It's a two different styles. You can kind of... It blends in, joins up, but it's unique enough that you can pick them out.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of comes together.
Yeah, it's a diplomatic approach. I try to give equal treatment to both guitars. I try to give every member a chance to shine on their instrument. Yeah, so
they each hire.
I don't try to just take everything all the time.
Unplug the other one's guitar.
And you know, I mean, I remember seeing Rhythm Disturbance, back in the day, and you guys have played together forever, so you've probably got to be knowing what each other's going to do.
Yeah, we read off of each other pretty well. I mean, and Robin too. I mean, it's like, if you notice some of the bass that he does, it's not just in the background. We like to bring it out. I want to hear it because there's too many bands out there where you just don't even hear the bass. It's just nothing but wompy guitars and you don't hear the bass. We want it to come through. You know what I mean? It's like because Robin's got chops that come out. We want to bring it out. So it's like there's
my guitar experience too.
Yes.
Yeah, I like to have stuff ringing out, chords on the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jude and I have worked together long enough that the guitar stuff, it's real easy to get on the same page and real easy to communicate and follow their ideas. It's very straightforward on that side of it.
Cool. Well, before we started this, we were in there talking, and you said when you saw Pantera in '94, that was kind of when you guys decided.
Yeah, that was kind of.
Was that? Were you playing guitar at that point, or is that when you decided we need to play guitar as well?
Yeah, actually, I was. That's kind of how it started. That was we had already kind of Nathan and I and Eric Dabrowski and Matt Wilson. There were the four of us that kind of jammed, and Robin would join us in there too. And it just kind of it was so weird that all of us were at that concert, though we were in different bands. We've been friends. I mean, Robin and I were hiding Metallica tapes in Catholic school back in the day. You know what I mean? That's where this all started from, So it's just, it went around full circle. But we had already been kind of playing at that time, but we were just kind of just jamming. But to actually go, let's start a band. Let's actually do this. Like play gigs and stuff, write stuff. That was the turning point. It was just, honestly, a lot of it for me personally, it was Philip Anselmo's words because I grew up in a family environment that was totally against what I'm doing here. They don't like rock and roll. It's the devil's music, blah, blah, blah. Never had any support on it. And I was always told, no, you can't. You're never going to be this. You're never going to be that. And I remember Reverend Anselmo got up there, preached to the audience, man. He told us, you look in that damn mirror, you like what you see. Don't let anyone tell you can't do it. If you want to do something, do it. Now that light bulb went on. That changed me, and I think it did that for some of us too. We just kind of, it just happened after that.
Yeah, the stories are long and complex in the origins of this band. I think each of us had a different experience and reason for coming into the music, but for me, probably And Justice for All was a turning point that really got me into metal, got me into wanting to play metal, guitar, and all of that back around the late 80s when I was a kid. So that was really a turning point for me. No going back.
Yeah.
Been metal ever since.
Yeah. And Justice for All did it for a lot of us.
Yeah, that's I would say here too.
Yeah.
Although I have to just admit, when I was a little kid, I guess I should have seen the writing on the wall. The first song that actually made me go, what is that? What's making that tone? Was Danger Zone from Top Gun.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only rock and roll I could get to because it was just on a movie. And I was like, what is that making that tone? And then I got into it. Then came the rock and roll, secretly listening to it, that sort of thing. Sneaking Headbangers Ball in the VCRs and stuff, that kind of thing.
Danger Zone.
Yeah, that's where it started for me. I got to admit it.
That's the beauty of metal and metalheads is we're attracted to this music because we really love it. It's not because it's a trend or something popular on the radio. We hear some weird obscure thing. My best friend growing up, Eric, brought home a tape he taped on the radio in Canada that had Death on it, the band Death, Chuck Schullinger's guitar work. If I'd never heard that stuff, I would have never discovered metal on mainstream radio. But once I got a taste of it, that's all I've loved ever since.
Yeah. Well, there's something about it. I mean, there's no like diehard Wang Chung fans out there. They still go see him or whatever. But like,
I'm still trying to Wang Chung.
We're trying to figure it out.
Apparently, you're going to have fun
Tonight.
Yeah,
and then you have Robin and I back in the day. Most of the metal bands we got to know were just by going to Best Buy or Starship and looking at the album cover. If it had a cool cover, Robin bought it, and I'm like, dude, this is it.
I would just buy
Man, we found so many bands that way just by grabbing the album cover. So it's
Overkill, Sepultura.
Trips to Starship,
Obituary.
Records and Tapes.
Right.
That's classic. Getting In Flames and all those bands up there, Colony and all that stuff. So once I discovered Europe, it was over. My top 50 bands are from Sweden. I mean, I just listen to all the European metal like crazy.
Yeah, I want to go to Gothenburg someday.
Oh,
All that stuff's huge influence on us. A lot of different influences from prog metal to classical metal, heavy metal.
I think the one that changed it for me out of the European was the In Flames.
Yeah.
I heard that. It's like, okay, this is like death metal with harmonized guitars. It's like a little bit of the Maiden influence, a little bit of the heavier stuff, and it's like everything together. And that changed my platform up quite a bit when I discovered them in the early 2000s.
Yeah, you can hear old school In Flames in our stuff. They really taught me, melodic death metal taught me the harmonized guitars and an aggressive approach. It just took the whole Iron Maiden thing to a whole new level. And I love that stuff, the old In Flames.
What do you think of their new stuff?
There's hit and miss. It's hit and miss. There's a few grooves in there that's good, but it's just like I find myself going back.
Listen to a full album.
Yeah,
it's not the
I
same.
agree. It's not the same. Yeah.
I still support them. I bought their latest live album just because they played so many old hits. Anything from Come Clarity and Back, Clayman, all that. Chester Race, and those are all
Pinball
great.
Map, that's like my favorite In Flames song. Yes. Love that song.
Absolutely. It'll always be part of me, that stuff, even though I've moved on to other bands I listen to on a daily basis.
What about you going back? What's your background leading up to Shiner?
Oh, Anywhere and Everywhere. Let's see.
Serial killer.
Country?
Country, totally. My background goes back to when I was a baby. The first concert I was at, my parents had a band.
It was Wang Chung.
And it wasn't country band. Yeah.
God, I should have
He's over here
said that.
You wait, the Wang Chung cover is coming next.
My parents had a country band in 25 states when I was a kid. My first concert I was at, I was off stage being held by one of the band wives while my parents were doing band, and I was 3 years old. So, I mean, that's how quick I was in the music. But we were always in and out of like chapter country clubs and stuff like that, and various places all the way up and all the way through, Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, up in that area, Pennsylvania. They always played in that region. And that's where I got my first taste of music. But then the things that led me to rock, my biggest influences, when you guys mentioned Metallica, it was like ringing the bell. Because I remember the first time I heard that, in the 90s, I was like, oh my God, what is this? When that got to me. But I know bands like Alice in Chains had a huge influence on where I go vocally as far as singing. And then lyrics, I really just kind of had to find my own thing, because you can't really base your lyrics off what other people have done. You kind of got to find your own message when you're writing lyrics. So, but I'd say vocally, one of my bigger influences were bands like Alice in Chains and stuff like that, where they have the 2 and 3 part harmonies, but they're doing it to a really awesome effect. And then some of the deeper stuff, another off the wall influence I have is Rammstein. I just love a lot of their, I got deep into their music the first time I heard them. I was like, so I went out and found everything I could, and it was just, So it's very broad spectrum of influences as far as the actual vocals go. So
I think that's what's making our unique tone. I mean, it's like you look at all of our, stuff we listen to. It's pretty vast. I mean, my random play in the truck, I've got all those songs. It'll go from Morbid Angel to freaking Neil Diamond. Yeah, it's like, how does that happen? If it's like something that I like when I was a little kid, I throw it in the mix. It's all influential somehow or another. Every if you write comes from something you've heard. I mean, there's only A through D. It's gonna come full circle eventually.
Yeah, I like the breadth of the influences. I mean, I've always tried to listen to a lot of different genres, from brutal deathcore to power metal and everything in between. So we literally have that sprinkle of thrash, death metal, groove metal, power metal, heavy metal, a little bit of progressive, and now I'm starting to explore bluesier runs like old school metal, and just incorporating all the elements of all the decades that have come before into some unique formula that isn't really heard anywhere else. That's what every band strives for, is to sound unique. But, the feedback will be the ultimate judge of that. If people tell you, you really sound unique, or you don't want to be a copycat of anything else. Yeah. So I like the formula we've got right now, kind of a neat blend of stuff. Bang your head to it and all that. So.
Well, over the past, how long has Dryvr been together now? About 3 years?
Yeah, it'll be 4 next week.
Yeah, I was bringing it before.
So no, it's been 4.
It's been 4.
It was already 4.
It's 4 now.
It is 4 now. Yeah.
Like over these past 4 years, what are some? I know you guys have done some big shows and stuff. What are some highlights in the history of Dryvr so far?
I would say from
somebody name one.
Yeah, I'd say when we opened for Danzig, that was a huge thing.
At
for
the Brady
me.
Theater.
At the Brady, that's a bucket list. Kane's Ballroom with Texas Hippie Coalition. We played that several times. Something special about that Kane's Ballroom for me. That's probably my favorite place personally. I mean, you could get me to Madison Square Garden, but Kane's just has a spiritual sense. I don't know what it is. Maybe one of the first concerts I went to was there. Maybe it's like my soul's in that place. I don't know. Just something about it.
Rob, what's one of your highlights?
Harley Davidson rally. They played at Buffalo Chip.
That was awesome.
That was quite an experience. That was wild.
Sturgis.
I never would have dreamed of playing there. That's just amazing.
I didn't even know you guys did that. When did you guys do that?
2 years ago.
2015.
Damn, that's cool.
Yeah, it was like the first year, basically. We went from playing the Vanguard here in Tulsa to Buffalo Chip.
Yeah.
Not bad.
What was the reception like on that show from the crowd?
Good reception.
Yeah, they liked it.
Weather permitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was stormy. It was
Weather destroyed the end of the weekend for us, but
it kind of hurt.
First
but
time we did.
there were bikers going out, and they'd stop and just watch us.
Yeah, we were pulling people that were trying to leave. They heard us and they couldn't leave.
So it was pretty cool, and there's a lot of wild stories there. Yeah.
Then, of course, you can't. The Rocklahomas are pretty memorable.
Oh, yeah, 3 years in a row.
Blast with that. I've had that in my scope ever since Rocklahoma started years ago. I just finally got to the chance to do it. And I close my eyes and think back on this. That's one thing that stands out, the feeling of all that. The people, the atmosphere and everything. It's just really awesome to be able to play with all those hero bands. That's the magnitude of it there.
Yeah, you almost have to break down the experiences by type, because there were several different types. Like the most memorable stage experience for me was the first Rocklahoma gig. We had a real sweet spot, so we had a filled tent of 1,200 people or whatever. It was very energetic that first Thursday night, in the Access tent. That was a great stage experience. Yeah. But then the overall backstage experience at Streets Gone Wild, hanging out with Quiet Riot and Queens Riot.
That's the other one.
And also hanging backstage when we got to play Hard Rock stage, because we were back with all the main stage bands and stuff. Yeah. Through catering and all of that. Those were really neat, because you get the camaraderie. You're no longer a fan. You're like one of the bands, and you're with them. It's a whole different experience than just attending and seeing them perform.
Yeah. Well, was Danzig, was that pretty tense? I've heard he's kind of tensed up.
Not as much as we thought.
I know couldn't take cameras. I know that.
They were kicking people out for taking pictures. Absolutely.
You hear the stories, but no problems there.
That's cool. Pretty seamless.
We didn't interact much with Glenn, but the rest of the band was very cool.
Yeah, Glenn kept to himself, so I didn't really see him, but I got to hang out backstage with Johnny Kelly.
That was amazing.
Wow.
Meeting Johnny Kelly was amazing.
Yeah, he was like,
type on negative.
It was kind of like a Wayne's World scene. This like, we're not worthy, and he says, "No, stick around, hang out, have a drink with us." What? Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, Johnny and his tech were having a blast scoping out mine, so we were talking drum back and forth. I was like, "Yeah, this is very cool."
That is cool.
Talking drums with Johnny.
I got a chance to talk to Johnny about a dream that I recently bought a black Toyota Tacoma that I'm going to build into a Peter Steele Typo Negative tribute truck called Black Number 1. And I got to tell him what I'm going to do with this truck. That band, Typo Negative, means so much to me. I don't know what it is. And, of course, anyone that knows me knows that I build these Toyota trucks to, like, extremes. I've got 4 of them. Mm-hmm. I've built many of them in the past, but I've always wanted to join that love affair with metal and just one thing together and attribute it to a band that means that much. I was honored to be able just to tell him about it.
That's awesome.
That was really awesome.
Yeah, for me, watching this ties it back into the influence thing too. One of the first metal concert experiences I had was Typo Negative playing in front of Pantera, opening for Pantera in '96 at the Akron University up in Ohio, Akron University Convocation. I didn't even have tickets to the show. My stepbrother dragged me to it. My younger stepbrother dragged me to it because I didn't even know about the show at the time. He dragged me to it. He's like, his mom wasn't going to let him go unless I went with him. And so he took me to the show, and I was like, oh, what? You see this amazing fucking stage show, and it's just it was mind blowing. It's just
that one. That's and there's a certain level of romance in that. That's like my first love relationship. Her and I listened to that, so that was just kind of like, whoa, that when you're first growing into manhood kind of thing. You know what I mean? That's what's so special about that. It's like really cool. Being a teenager going into that.
Yeah, as far as the hanging out with the bands, to me that's just highly dependent on the venue and more reflective of the venue. Because I've hung out with the guitarist at Morbid Angel out around the bus after the show, and he's running around in the dark being crazy hooligans. But then the Brady Theater was just that venue really treated us well. When you get a nice green room experience, you get good accommodations, refreshments, all of that stuff. Yeah. That makes a huge difference in the experience for me. So,
and that's another aspect that I love about this experience with Brandon. He joins in with the travel part of it. I love to drive. Mike calls me the driving monkey. I'm always the one behind the wheel. So just to see our little rig next to Danzig's bus just pulled in and taped in there with everyone else, it's just like, wow, this must be what it's like. This is nice. I'd like to see more of it. I'd love to graduate to a tour bus. That'd be nice someday to do that.
Definitely.
We'll talk a little bit about your guys' endorsements because I know you guys got quite a few.
Been racking this up. We'll start with Mike's because that'll take a while.
Actually, about to make a new announcement. There's some changes going on. I most recently picked up a new endorsement from Roadie Gearworks. They built me this badass blue Viper snakeskin stick bag. It's got a little bit of black in the middle, so the blue to black thing continues. That's fantastic. And I'm just beyond stupid lucky to be connected to these companies. So pretty much everything I play, I'm endorsed by my cymbals, my heads, sticks, of course. Through Matt, we got the deal of the century on the Pearl kit. I don't have shoes, so I should start kissing Puma's ass and see if they'll cut me a discount on like 3 or 4 pair of shoes. Recently, everybody, the whole band is now endorsed by Killer Q guitar straps and custom straps that everybody's playing with and made by you can design them yourself. They have designs already. You can do a mix and match, pretty much whatever you can think of in certain printable options, and they can put on a strap. And he's got Dryvr. I have like a blue-black diamond plate. He's designed a badass skull thing going. You've got a couple of different.
This color matched, the little blue sky cloud and diamond plate.
Metal diamond.
That's been a lot of fun getting to know Chad and a bunch at Killer Q.
Yeah.
Those guys
and they're good.
Great people.
And
they're comfortable straps.
Yeah,
they're good.
very.
Yeah.
Love them.
Yeah, they make more than just straps. They've got a lot of different products. They won an award at the NAMM show this summer in Nashville. They sponsored us to NAMM as well. So
And that was a
we
wonderful
owe a lot
experience.
to Killer Q for sure.
Yeah.
Real great company, real nice guys. Yeah, so we've got our custom guitar straps, absolutely. Slaved away in Photoshop for days to make just the right design. So there's none other like that one. I went straight death metal on the first one with bloody skulls and stuff. So it might be Hello Kitty next. Who knows? Just whatever strikes my fancy.
I certainly hope it is.
So we're all waiting. Me and Nathan talk about that. Pop a couple of EMG 85s and Hello Kitty guitars, and we'll go to town.
Yeah, just like the Zach Wild video.
Yeah.
It's fun.
He's got the Rainbow Unicorn Discovery Kit, so
For me, music has always been about having fun, not taking it so seriously. We like smiling and laughing. We don't want to be grimacing and miserable the whole time. So
there's never a time when we're not cutting up and cracking up about something.
It's all about good humor, having a good time.
And these guys have just met an overwhelming new bunch of people that we got to introduce ourselves to through the NAMM show, through the vendors, and so these guys are now making new connections to all the gear they play and starting new relationships. And there's a bunch of cool stuff. The Erasers people love us, which are some of the greatest portable earplugs ever. Yeah. And different levels of sound dampening, and they've treated us like rock stars. So we all have, badass earplugs. The Alien Ears people have treated us like we're famous people for our new in-ears that we're all getting to be a part of. So we're a part of that family now, and the word is spreading. And it's just the connections and getting a chance to go to these conventions first and start meeting the people, and then these guys, can talk to anybody, and they genuinely use this stuff, so they can actually, hey, I use this. I'm not just here to, get fingerprints on your guitar, and so I expect more of that coming, and 3 of us at least are probably going to be in California in January for the Big Man Show.
Oh wow!
And that's a whole new. That show is huge and overwhelming. So, but it offers the opportunity to meet a lot of people.
That's the silver tuna.
So, man, first time I walked in, I thought my face was going to split in half. It's big. It's holy crap big. So it takes you a little bit to get your bearings. But there's huge opportunities in networking and connections. And so.
Definitely brought us into a new perspective of things. That going to the Summer NAMM, to seeing the way the industry on that side of the fence works, not so much the playing side, but the backbone of it. I mean, that's what makes all this go. I mean, if you don't have good gear, you don't have a good band. I mean, that's you got the talent, but you've got to support it with the right equipment.
Yeah, NAMM is really neat because it's not open to the public, so you're privileged if you get to attend. So I was absolutely honored to go there. Did not take it for granted whatsoever.
Absolutely.
And the neat thing about it is you meet so many mom and pop boutique shops, having face-to-face conversations with guys that are handcrafting guitar effects pedals or hand-making guitars or hand-making guitar heads. Tons and tons of these kind of companies. You can meet the big Fenders and the Jacksons and all those guys, but just 100 other little companies making all kinds of cool stuff. So just to connect with all those people, I probably brought back a 50-pound bag of business cards, catalogs, and literature just to connect with and learn about.
He's not kidding. He almost had to buy another seat.
We had to make 2 trips to the truck.
Yeah. My arms were sore from carrying it around. I was splitting a couple bags carrying all that. So, I made a lot of great connections. And we also just got a new partnership with Dirt Bag Clothing. So, a clothing endorsement.
That's a new avenue, yes.
So, we're excited to be working with those guys. So, just new stuff all the time. We're just constantly pounding the pavement, expanding and growing.
Yeah.
Totally off subject, but I can't remember the actor's name. Has anyone ever told you sound like Putty from Seinfeld?
No.
Hey, I've been told I sound like Captain Ron, so I get it.
Not a problem. There's worse things to sound like, right?
Nice, exactly.
He's also Joe on Family Guy, same actor.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Joe, the wheelchair. From
Oh, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, we appreciate you guys' time.
Yeah,
Thank you guys for coming out. We the support that Thunder Underground has given Dryvr in our endeavors up to now. Thank you will never be enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what you guys have accomplished just with this program is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys are truly some of our heroes. What you guys do, we think is pretty fucking cool. And thank you. Like I said, it won't cut it, but thank you so much for the support and listening to us. And I swear to God, I'm going to try to not call you again soon. I promise.
Hey, you can call us anytime.
I promise.
Hey, the thing I played for Mike a couple minutes ago was a voicemail. It looks like we just got the final confirmation from the third band, but that's what we were waiting on. We're going to be playing a show up in Wichita. It'll be our first show with Screaming Red Mutiny.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's going to be at the Alberta in Wichita in early November, but also Dead Orchestra.
Wow,
a minute since we've heard that name.
No kidding.
They're coming out of retirement.
Yeah,
they're doing
baby.
a Halloween party in the middle of October, and then they're doing that show with us. And then
They're
coming back.
Man, that's crazy.
So, I didn't want to make the announcement until we got the confirmation, and we got the confirmation while we were meeting with you guys. It was on my voicemail.
That's awesome.
Miles said that they
So this is like is this their first thing coming back from
I think they have a little. They're playing with a little indie band. Like I think they said, they're doing a private Halloween party, and then playing with a little indie band, and then it's with us.
Yeah,
It's us and Screaming Red Mutiny. So it's kind of a homecoming for me and Sprout because we both come out of Wichita. Come out of the Wichita market originally. That's kind of where we cut our teeth, and so it's more of a little bit of a homecoming show for us, and then.
And I played with Deado, man.
Yeah, it was so
days and back in the Pitbulls days. So this will be like
it's full circle again. Once again.
Yes,
that's cool.
Yes.
That's cool. Yeah.
And I guess they're fixing to do some stuff, like come out of retirement and take a run around the track. So we're gonna stay close with them,
awesome.
and I think we're gonna have an opportunity to do some shows with them.
Cool.
So that could turn out to be very cool. And some of the other bands, we're finally going to get a chance that we've not got to play with because of schedule-wise and being busy. Well, we're going after those first. Like we've been trying to play with Troy forever, and we've been on like Rocklahoma bills and whatnot. But just schedules, man. We were going to play together in Joplin this past summer, but of course we didn't have a frontman. So I was talking to the tour manager today. So we're working on something. We think the end of this year, maybe November-ish, we can get them here to town and maybe do like a Shrine or a Vanguard or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but going after some of the bands that we haven't had a chance to play with just because of schedule, we're going to try and knock that out first as we get the ball rolling again. And we're pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff in the works. There's a lot of shows cooking that we can't wait to announce. So.
Oh, good.
So much in every aspect. It's this pot, this machine that's coming together. It's beginning.
Yeah.
It's a real sweet spot to be in
It's
right
starting
now.
to
I'm very
roll
happy.
again, and then we have a writer in the bunch and somebody that's hungry and wants to do this and can. Then now there's, we can start creating again. Rolling forward and writing new stuff, and because he's got a buttload of material, and plus he writes all the time, and he listens to 8 million different bands a week. So just the influences. So he writes prolifically all the time. These guys write. Now Brandon, the lyricist, I do some of that. Mostly I just sit back and look pretty, because I'm not smart enough. New cool stuff is coming.
Yeah, we've continued to grow even before we got the frontman. So we've added a bigger trailer. I bought new guitar pedals. We bought new guitars, new basses, 5-string, 7-string, new cases, just all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we got a bigger trailer, and he's already trying to fill the motherfucker up.
Stuff. Yeah, new stuff. More room, yes, fill her up.
We're always expanding something or other. I mean, I'm making sure, our logistics are taken care of. We've got the vehicle maintenance done, new tires, new everything, get it all ready to go, just get the music, the travel, the gigs, the show, the stage, recording, just everything.
We're going to take the world by storm.
Ready for it all.
Get ready, we're coming.
That's right.
Thanks again, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming out. We really appreciate you.
Yeah.
There you go. All 5 members of Dryvr: Mike, Brandon, Nathan, Robin, and Jude. Very glad to have all 5 of these guys on. Thanks to them for taking the time out to sit down with us. Went over to Mike's house to do this, and then, like we said earlier, got to watch them play several of their new songs in rehearsal. Really excited to see them live soon enough. And like they mentioned here on this episode, they've got this show in Wichita coming up November 4th with Screaming Red Mutiny and Dead Orchestra.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Dead Orchestra. What the fuck?
Right?
So,
that's only, 3 weeks away now, so if you're anywhere near you, that's definitely worth a road trip.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, like we mentioned earlier, you've got 3 episodes you could go back and hear more of Mike DiPetrillo.
That's right. More Dryvr.
Yeah. We've also had on several of the guys around this Oklahoma area, Tulsa and Oklahoma City. We don't mention enough that we had on Andy from Archon.
That's right.
That was a great
one.
Yeah. This guy's got a wealth of not just information, knowledge, all kinds of... He's just a cool guy to talk to.
And the fastest fingers in the state.
Yes.
Telling you.
Yeah, check out
guitar playing. I don't know anything else.
Right.
I'm talking about guitar playing, okay?
But when you're
Andy.
But when you're not talking about guitar playing, you give that title to Josh from Fist of Rage.
Of course, always.
Right. back on track. Fist of Rage has been on this podcast. So
Fist
has
of Rage, yeah. What are some of the other locals?
the Normandies, Severmind, Screaming Red Mutiny. Sprout was just on here again.
That's right.
Just a few episodes ago. We've had on guys from, Scorned.
Reliance Code, fucking Rocket Science, Alter Blood. Geez, we just had, we had Dave and Terry and Brian from Oil Capital Underground. I mean, Oklahoma, Steve Ray. I mean, no local stone is left unturned.
Yeah, Chad Malone.
Chad Malone, exactly.
And then, of course, when we get into the other stuff, we've had on guys from Kiss, from Seven Dust, Saving Abel, Shinedown, Death Angel, King, The Sword, Corrosion Conformity, Warrant, Europe, Firehouse, Trickster.
Act of Defiance.
Yeah.
Street Dogs. Superjoint.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah. Crowbar. I Hate God.
Exactly.
So just check all these out. It's www.soundcloud.com/Thunder-Underground. 143 previous episodes you can stream anytime you want. You can also find that on YouTube at The Thunder Underground. We stream live every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central, 1027WSNR.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, / The Thunder Underground, Instagram at The Thunder Underground, and Twitter, THNDRUNDR Ground. All right, once again, thank you to Dryvr for taking the time out to talk to us. And until next time.
Thunder Underground, y'all.